and Tintin because I'm twice as nice. Welcome to yet another episode of The Drop Hip Hop Uncensored. Today I have with me award-winning, prestigious producer, father, creative, an all-round hip-hop music pioneer, PH-X.
Thank you so much for having me. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm super, man. I'm good.
I actually wanted to say Absheni because you asked me in English, and I wanted to say Absheni. I understand it, but here and there.
That's good.
Now I want to go straight right into it, right?
Sure.
You've been in the game for more than 10 years. Mm-hmm. How have you managed to remain so relevant, to remain so relatable, to remain, so successful in the industry?
I think it's people, half of it I would say is God's plans, but I think relationships with people, keeping good relationships or growing relationships with people help you kind of sustain yourself, So I'm big into giving my time to also the youth. So when they grow, they speak about me. So as they blow up, I blow up, So I keep kind of reinventing myself through them. So my whole thing is always just give yourself to those who are coming after you, and just keep it real with the people that you know. And
one thing I love about you is literally, I'm going to say 80% of the people that have come up or that are currently at the peak of their careers, You've been involved, whether it's been publicly known or not, but those people ensure that people know that they're where they are because of you, and that's the amount of influence that you have.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm talking about. I believe that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help the next person. I believe that's what everybody here is here for. So my way is through music and kind of creating channels for new artists to make it easier or make it more efficient for them to find their careers and find success in their careers. So I use what I know for other people to use it too. So yeah, I'm glad that it's found success in some artists.
It's very honorable of you, I must say. It's very, very honorable. And because you're known as a producer, I want to go into what are some of the challenges that we don't see or that people don't think are happening that producers go through, because you have spoken out, Marco has spoken out, Lunatic has spoken out, Must Be Dubs has spoken out. So a lot of people have come forth and said, you know what, it's not always glitz and glam, but I want to go into what are some of the challenges that you've experienced as a producer.
As a producer, it's not even glitz or glam. It's never been glitz or glam for a producer at all. So my challenges has always been maybe giving myself too much of myself and not getting the same return back, or maybe expecting too much back, or maybe having too much expectations, and that's kind of end up being disappointed. I don't know. So I think most artists or most producers, their essence, just who they are as a person, is to give. That's what we produce, is to give the best of ourselves so you as an artist can be successful. So that we do that naturally. But what I've found, that we don't get the same from the artist. The artist thinks for themselves.
It's not reciprocated energy.
Yeah, an artist thinks for himself. He wants to blow or whatever. A producer wants you to blow. You know what I mean? He's working for you to find success. So we don't have that type of return factor from either the artist or whoever you might work with as a label. It's almost like you just here to do your job and not really anything else. And I think we just do a lot more than we create careers. We build careers, we build music.
You guys are the foundation of a lot of successful people, and I feel like it's not fair to not even enjoy the fruits of your labor, because I feel like it starts with you guys. If you guys didn't even start, they won't be there.
Definitely. In general, music is made through, the money that the artists make, they make it through performing, especially in South Africa. Sales are not a big thing. We're not going to sell millions and millions of copies anytime soon. But then shows is where the artist makes a lot of the money, which kind of immediately cuts the producer off because he's not there by the show. So I think what needs to change is the relationship between the artist and the producer, and that needs to be understood more or reinvented to fit the climate in South Africa, in a sense of, if I'm making money through that, somehow that money has to go back to the producer, not because it's performed, because there's no other way we are making money but through this channel. And if I'm just gonna be greedy and keep that to myself, then I'm gonna leave the producer behind, because that's the only way we really or make money. We're not selling albums. Nobody's selling enough albums for the producer like in America to sit back. America, a producer can sell one song for $1 million, you know, for $1 million copies sold. That's good money for a producer. He doesn't have the same pressures as we have, where the numbers are small and the success rate is high, but the numbers are small, and we don't get to see the benefits of that. So
also, I think the digital reach in South Africa is not. People always say
small.
We have internet, we have this,
very small.
but yeah, the digital reach is not that great in terms of people getting music. Now, because a lot of artists do make money through their gigs, right? So what happens then if a producer has an album? For instance, you have an album, right? And you featured a lot of artists there. Who then makes the money? Or who then makes... because also, how does it work in terms of the album?
It's no different from an artist releasing an album, featuring whoever he might feature, and also having the producers to produce the songs that he might be rapping on. It's just pay the people that whatever agreements you have agreed to, whether it's through your royalties or once-off payments. Those are discussions you should have with the people that you work with. But in my case, the artists that I work with, in most cases, are through favors and relationships that I have. So I don't really pay them upfront. They get their percentages and royalties because they're part of the song. So that's where they would get their royalties. But I need more than that also from the artists. You know, it needs to be less than a favor and more of an opportunity for them too. They should not just have done a verse for you and let it go. You know, it should be easier for me to call you to shoot a video. You should be involved, you know.
You shouldn't scratch your head like,
yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm not AKA, I'm not the next big thing, you know. I'll never be the next big thing. I'm just going to be PH, you know, which I'm going to be here forever. You know?
I think you are one of the big things.
Yeah. Because I'm never going to be next. I'm just going to be here all the time. You know, I've passed my next stage, you know what I mean? So my point is to remain, and whether I get bigger or not, that's not the point. But it's really to be able to find life through this music. You know, be able to take your school to school. You know what I mean? To take your kids to school. You know, pay rent. You know, put food in your table. Do what everybody does. You know, go on holidays through this because it's time, effort, and it should pay back.
You say that you are not going this. You've passed your next, right? I want to also go into a bit of your family because you're a very family-oriented man, and you are now getting into the family business that your parents have always wanted you to get into with your brothers, right? Now, would you say that you've reached that point in your life where you're like, this is where I'm deciding I can live without making music, I can live without producing?
No. It's everything has to do with timing, you know. I was young enough to focus all my energy on the music because I do believe, to a certain degree, it is a young man's game. You know what I mean? Not that I would be out of reach, but it is a young man's game. So for me, the reason I've spent so much time or invested everything into it because I was young enough to do it. But as I grow, my time is now invested to other people instead of myself. You know, so obviously I should have more time to myself to now expand and to do other things, you know what I mean, like construction or whatever other businesses that I might want to be interested in. But it's not cutting off who I am. I still now just divide my time a little bit more because I'm not next in a sense where I have to focus everything on that specific
thing
or whatever.
Time is of the essence as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel I've put my footprint in there. It just needs to just be strong and grow from what I have. So I don't have to be too pressured, you know what I mean, to do any more than I want to do, you know.
It's more of I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
As long as I'm happy with it,
and
I'm good.
That's what I want. Yeah. So I've got myself to be there. So with that, I'll never stop producing because I'm not expecting.
You're not proving anything.
Yeah,
you've proven. You've gotten awards. Like
exactly.
you've gotten all the milestones that you've wanted to get.
Sure. So now it's just the money, and money can be made in a million ways. You know,
that's true.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Producing is not the only way I can make money.
And you know, people think it's easy because they see you doing things or they see you on social media or TV, and automatically you're a millionaire or you have money. But it's quite a challenge. Like, it's quite a challenge to be building.
It's not a challenge. It's lies and just a delusion, you know, that we put for ourselves and for others, especially coming from, public people, you know, public figures. You know, we go out of our way to
to prove that we have certain
yeah,
things.
to keep ourselves separated from
Keeping
other
appearances.
people, keeping up appearances, and that we are always good. And that's not life, Nobody's always good. But if you have to look at anybody's Instagram,
everything is always good.
And they're posting every day.
Everything is always good.
So it's good. So how is it every day of the week? Everything is good for you, but for people I
and
know, not every day of the week. Someone's we'll all go through something once a week at least, whatever it might be. So I feel I had to also break that thing. I came out and told people that I'm broke. Just last week. What? Actually, I'm gonna tell everybody that I'm in a broke position, and it's not something easy to say, but it's something that needs to be said because I don't wanna.
It's the truth.
Yeah, and I also don't wanna come up. I don't want to live up to something that I'm not right now. I don't want you guys to expect something that's not me right now. So now you know who I am, and what it's done is also I wasn't looking for sympathy, but to be free for myself, and also allow other people to be free, because we kind of do lead a lot of the followers that follow us. They kind of follow us and want to act the way we act. So if we're not truthful, the chances they're not going to be truthful in the long run. So being truthful and me being broke is temporary, just like you being sick. It's a temporary situation.
It's not a forever thing or an indefinite thing.
Just like being rich, you know what I mean? But we expose that so much as if it's there.
The only thing, and it's there all the time.
It's not the truth.
And like this, people even on Instagram, they know there's a point in their times where at least once a month there's that point where you're like, yo.
Yeah, everybody, even if you have a job.
Yeah.
Once a month we don't have money. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So at that point you're broke. You know what I mean? At that moment you're broke until whatever comes next. So. And that's when we still forced to show that we are not broke. It's okay to say, "Hey, I'm broke now," because
but I'm gonna be okay.
I'm gonna be okay. I mean, I'm not dead.
As a family man and as one that is leaving his own legacy, and as a father, right? What type of legacy do you want your children to leave? Because for you to be where you are right now, you had to kind of show your parents the results and convince them. So. Are you going to give your son the same opportunity, or are you going to give your daughter the same opportunity, or just let them be themselves and then figure it out?
Definitely. I mean, as a father, it's to create opportunities for your kids. That's your ultimate job. Like to create opportunities in any form. Whether by having a roof over their head so they can be at peace, so they can sleep, an opportunity to rest. Opportunity to eat. But so also when it comes to their careers. Whatever they want to do for me has to make sense for them and make sense in the bigger picture for the people that love them too. It's easy to do things that you want to do, and that's cool. But I think it needs to just make sense for everybody around you too, as much as it makes sense for you. And has to be instilled from birth. Like thinking for other people. So by the time you just think on doing something. He's already thinking in that capacity. I'm thinking I'm not when, not now. This is not for me, but you haven't been teaching that from day one. So I'm gonna try and instill, that in my kids, that they can do whatever they want, but doing what you're not here for yourself. You're never here for yourself. So whatever, if you want to spend 9 hours a day doing something, it should help the next person to a certain degree. It shouldn't just be about your financial gain at the end of the month.
I think that's the best part about being African, right?
Yeah.
Is the fact that it's not always about you, but there's a greater purpose. There's bigger people to also work with and bigger people to help, right?
Sure.
What would you say is the best thing about being a dad and showing your kids that? Because I think from my end, from the outside, I see you as someone who's cultivated a lot for the culture in South Africa.
Sure.
So your children will see you obviously in that fatherly light.
Sure.
So for you, what's the best thing about being a dad?
For me, I don't know what it is, but for me, it's being able to actually change who I am. Being able to be so definite in that I need to change. This needs to go. So that change has happened, and not based on my benefit, but for their benefit. That's been the most amazing thing that I'm doing it so easily. I want to make that change. I'm looking to make those type of changes. So that's making me a better person. I think that's what kids do in general. They're supposed to make you a better person. to some sort of degree, and the rest you gotta put more effort as usual. But just having a kid that you love, that you want to take care of, then you don't think of yourself. And every day you got someone else besides yourself, and that alone changes your whole perspective.
It goes back to you saying your children need to know that they're not here for themselves.
They're not here for themselves. They're not here by themselves.
Yeah, they're not here for themselves. I like
Yeah,
that.
you know what I'm saying?
Speaking of not being here for themselves, you've literally cultivated a lot of people's careers, right? Why haven't you? Because I would have assumed that you would have maybe been like the Dr. Dre that you like to call yourself of Africa or South Africa, or A&R executive.
Yeah.
Why didn't you branch out into those ventures?
I did. I am even now. It's I think essentially I was a before I am. I didn't say I'm an A&R. You know what I mean? I had to first be a producer, then start learning how to sound engineer, then take that and say how to put an album together, how to find a new artist and bring, cultivate him into an artist. So all those things have gotten me to a point where I am an A&R now. In a sense, I can now practice it. I look for talent. I can take existing talent and take them up, or unknown talent and put a project together. That's what I've done. I've proven to do that over and over. So with all that now, like I'm saying, I'm in a new stage where I can say, okay, how do I now move forward? So those are the type of positions that I'm looking for, to do more A&R in, working with bigger labels, because that's how I can learn in that sector as well. So I'm looking to connect with some of the bigger labels, and hopefully I get those kind of positions where I can do that on a bigger scale.
I really can't wait to see what you'll do with so many resources around you, because I think for as much as you've been in the game, you've done so much with so little resources. Imagine when you're given resources on a platter and you go out.
That's what I want to do. I would love to be able to take I get it. I don't think there's anybody in the country that gets demos as much as I do. That's why I even have this thing called Demo Nights, where I'm trying to find a way to just get rid of this music and kind of showcase the kind of talent that's coming out in my inboxes, you know what I mean? So I really I've somehow created a channel for a lot of artists that just feel free to want to send me their projects and send me, and I'm in a space where I'll always find the next guy, not because I'm only searching, but because I've created a space where they want to send me their stuff. So that can only work better for the artists if I have bigger resources for them, instead of me hearing and say it's good.
It's good, but you can't do really anything to help them. I get it.
They get disappointed, they get distracted.
Because they're like, oh my God, you're saying it's good, but then... I get what you mean.
So I would like to be able to say it's good, I'll give you a call, let's have a meeting, or whatever the case is, instead of the way I'm doing it right now. I let go of a lot more than I could take one or two. I
actually can't wait to see that come into fruition, because right now we're living in a world where it's so scary being an artist, given the passing of Rikirik and City Lights, right? Sure. And people just automatically think, no, moving on, it's okay, it will be okay, we'll stay shining. But I want to know, what mindset are you in right now? And how has it affected you? Because I know that you've been affected because you were close with Ricky,
The way it's affecting me hard. It's triggered, a lot of things, for one, not understanding why he would do it, because he's our striker, he's our main striker, and I feel like, it's only the first half and we're already 2-0 down, and our main striker is gone, you know what I mean? So it just didn't make sense, but why him? But then it's I feel like it was a diagnosis that the game needed. He's became if he's not good, then none of us are good. In a bigger scale. If he's not good, then most of us
aren't good either.
Yeah, we're living up to something that's not real. We're hiding things. We're not able to speak. So that's why for me it was to break the silence and break the chain or the mold of always showing up to be good. Like change that, and maybe more of us be more expressive that we're not good and get help where we can. It's not always mental help. My case is maybe financial help or maybe business help or maybe being more business savvy or whatever the case is. But now that I've opened up to that, I've spoken about that, I should be able to give more help. If people reach out that can help me with that. But if we don't, we're gonna make decisions like, my brother Ricky, where it feels it's better just to end it. You know what I mean? And the pressures of the world are only getting more and more, and suicide is going to be more of an occurrence, not just in artists but in young kids, because of the pressures of society and parents.
And how you also said earlier in the interview, Horino, society's image of what stars are supposed to look like and what happiness is the perfect thing.
Every day is perfect. That's the thing. Every day is not perfect. There's no way it's perfect. And kids wake up in a bad day, and you again are waking up in a perfect day, the guy that I want to be. And then when you get there and you realize you're still not perfect, then you know it's like, why don't you just keep chasing something that's really not there, because in your head you've seen it, but it wasn't true. You know what I mean? It's a mirage.
And you believe it because you've seen it.
Yeah, the mirage looks like water from a distance. You convince somebody I saw water, but it's a mirage. At the end of the day, it's what you see, and it's not true. So yeah, the truth needs to come out more from public figures, not just and public figures anywhere from the president to a PH. You know what I mean? The truth needs to come out. Yeah.
I totally agree with you on that one. You, on a lighter note, you always embrace your ethnic culture, right? Sure. Which is Sitsonga. And I want to now understand how right now you are fully expressing it, even in your music, in the way that you dress, in the way that you write captions. What inspired you to fully go in? Because as much as it's one of the national languages in South Africa, in the music industry, before Shoma Josie, before Faith K, that your ethnic group there was no representation. There's a saying, representation is important. Yeah. So what in you was triggered, or what influenced you to say, you know what, I'm going to be the first representation, so that some other kid, Kokiani, can be like, I want to be like PH?
Number one, I'm not the first representation, but I get where you're coming from. Just so people don't think PH is the first. Yeah. I'm not the first. There've been people like me, like Mchangani, that was also signed at the Ghetto Rough during the Josie days as well, so the Murafi days. So I'm not the first, but the reason I did it is because even in general public outside the music, people from the Limpopo are closed off, as soon as we get to Joburg, we are pressured not to be ourselves, so we can get further. Because the more we're ourselves, the more we be closed off. The more I speak Tonga, the more I probably won't get the job. I probably won't make friends. I probably will be laughed at. I'll probably be doing all this. So you're pressured to get here and not be everything you are, so you can actually get further. You cannot because you want to, because that's the only way you can advance, because that's what we're here for, to make money, to be here, not to have fun, to actually make money and take it back home in general, right? That's what everybody in Joburg is here for. So for me, again, that had to change, you know what I mean? And the only way we can change that is making it popular, or making it cool to be Tonga. You know what I mean? So I wear a little thing here, I wear a little thing there, and making it look cool, and if kids start making it look cool, they'll be interested to see where it's from, and maybe Tonga kids might be interested in their language a bit more, and their culture, and that will just grow from there. So it became very important to me, because language is your identity. And we had identified too much with English, and nothing wrong with knowing English, but we identify too much with it, to a point where we are losing our other identities, not only just our Tonga or your Zuluness or whatever, just being African, we are losing it. How we talk to people. I don't think people don't even say hi to old ladies on the streets. We just pass. We just pass. And she expects that now. The old lady expects not to be greeted anymore in this day and age.
Because growing up, my grandmother used to
even the lady that's passing, you don't know, she'll stop you. So it's kind of changed, So it's not just the language, just
culture.
Our culture's been neglected. So language is the basis of keeping in touch with your
culture. And that's the first form of communication, because even with babies, before you learn how to walk or crawl, you first wabua, So yes. So I think it's also very important to also go back to that the roots of where we come from and knowing our cultural background.
Yeah, so we can navigate this other world properly without having to fit in, you know. So we navigate the Western world and trying to fit in there instead of trying to bring ourselves into it. Maybe even change how the Western world works, you know, just like they've changed how, you know, our culture things, how we do cultural things, how we live as a culture, you know. So, yeah, it's integration of everything, man. But integration doesn't mean deleting on anything. It means everything still needs to exist.
Like that doesn't mean deleting on anything.
Yeah.
Just one last one before I let you go, ne? You are such a humble guy. I've never heard about you're beefing with someone, or you're fighting with someone, or you're in a tour, or you're in a face-off on a live. How do you keep your humility? Like, how do you? Because I feel like that is something a lot of us in our generation or in the industry need to learn right now. There's you know, you shouldn't be ashamed of not being problematic or not being in fights and conflict, because I've never heard anybody say anything bad about you.
For one, in a sense, you always have to. There's not many of me. I cannot mess around. You know, I cannot take too many chances. I have to do it the right way. You know, guys, I'm disadvantaged. You know, when as a black people amongst my own black people, I'm disadvantaged. So I have to be humble enough for them to always feel safe around me, feel accepting of me. If I'm too myself or too tonga or showcase, you know, I mean, it's also just mental things that have been put in my head that I also have to kind of retain, but that's what's kind of protected me, or how I stay. The reason I stay humble, because I can't be too loud, because I'll be put aside immediately. Go, oh, you're too loud, and you also sound like
you're too this, you're too that.
You're too that. Yeah, you don't know how to speak our language. So the less you say, the more you remain. In a sense, the more you stay in the space and the more you talk, the quicker you'll be kicked out.
I think also with respect, I think that also pays, because sometimes respect is you not saying too much. It's not necessarily censoring yourself, but just minding your words.
Yeah, listening more, because people don't care what you say anyhow. So the more you listen is better for you, and speak where people, you know, I actually want to listen to you, because people just act like they want to listen, but they're listening to speak after, and they're waiting for you to say something so they can say something right after that. So.
We're gonna play a game, ne? Okay. Before I let you go, it's called Guess That Verse. Right? These are all yours, so they're all your verses. I just need you to give me a song title. Okay. How do I say you're the one? You're my favorite. You're the one. You're so basic. You're the one.
Okay. Oh man, I don't know, because I don't write my shit.
Oh, you don't write your shit? Okay.
But I recognize his lyrics. I'm just trying to figure out what song it is, and I record a lot of songs. Soko.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay.
This one, you need to get this one.
Okay.
This one, if you don't get it, I'm going to be angry.
Okay.
Don't get caught up in the wrong place.
Come on. That's
a given.
Yeah, that's a given. Caught up, yeah.
Yeah, and then the last one. Okay, pardon my pronunciation, ne? Abshen Ninjan. Aye, ngwana man, nifokil. Yeah. Your latest single. Yes. Where can people get a hold of you, contact you, book you, the demo nights as well?
Just get a hold of me. My social media is PH_RoyX. I'm more going to be in Facebook and Instagram. I'm not going to be too active on the Twitter live. So try not to, go hold of me on Twitter, because I'm kind of putting that on the side for a while. But my email will be management@phrox.com. You can get a hold of me regarding anything that you want to talk about, and see how we take it forward. But PH_RoyX on all my social media.
Thank you so much for pulling through. It's an honor for me to have you here, because I'm crazy with hip hop, so I've followed what you do for many years with the hits that you've dropped.
Thank you so much.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is another episode of The Drop, Hip Hop Uncensored. Tell your people to like, comment, and subscribe. The Drop, Hip Hop Uncensored on all social media platforms. Your favorite Black Barbie. Until next time, from my heart to yours, it is all love. Mahalo, everybody.